All right, today we're going to do a very direct evaluation of a new AI capability in Claude Opus 4.7. Now, this isn't about hype. This is a really focused analysis of what this actually means for you, the solo business operator, especially if you're trying to automate those complex, multi-step workflows that are just a headache. So let's just start with a frustration that I'm sure pretty much everyone has felt, right? You give an AI assistant a complex job, something that has multiple steps, needs to pull from different documents, and then halfway through, it just loses the plot. It completely forgets what you told it to do, it starts mixing up details, and the whole thing just kind of falls apart. So why does that happen? Well, this point of failure actually has a name. We can call it the automation ceiling. Think of it as this invisible barrier where the reliability of your AI assistant just completely breaks down, and that forces you to jump back in and take over manually. It's the reason why so many of those high-value, multi-step tasks have been so stubbornly difficult to automate. Well, until now, that is.
And this brings us right to Claude Opus 4.7. You gotta understand, this isn't just some minor incremental upgrade. It's really a targeted engineering solution, and it was designed specifically to smash right through that automation ceiling. The core capability that Anthropic has really zeroed in on here is something they call extended agentic task execution. Okay, I know, that is a mouthful, but what it means for you in practice is actually pretty simple. The model can now reliably run a long, autonomous workflow, hold all the important information across all the different steps, and actually finish the job without you having to constantly jump in and reprompt and correct it.
And, this really changes how we should be evaluating these tools. The old way was to look at these general intelligence benchmarks. How smart is it on some standardized test? But the new, and I think far more practical benchmark, is what we can call task persistence. The crucial question really shifts from how smart is it to how long can it stay on task? For Solopreneur, that is the metric that actually matters. And look, this isn't just theoretical. We can actually see the difference with a direct head-to-head comparison between the old model and the new one on the exact same complex task. It's pretty amazing. So the test was straightforward but also really demanding. We give both models a single, very detailed prompt and ask them to code a simple, interactive city-building game completely from scratch. This is a fantastic test of task persistence because it forces the AI to hold a ton of logic and structure in its memory from the very beginning all the way to the end. And the results? They are stark. I mean, it's night and day. The previous model, Claude 4.6, just completely failed. It took almost 5 times longer before it just gave up and spit out an error. But Claude 4.7, with the exact same prompt, totally succeeded. It generated a fully working, interactive game in just a fraction of the time. This just goes to show that a very specific capability gap has officially been closed. So what does this massive leap in reliability actually mean for your business? Well, it means that a whole new category of complex, high-value work is now, finally, on the table for automation. So let's break down the key enablers here. First, obviously, is that agentic task reliability we've been talking about. Second is its improved judgment on when to use tools. The model is just much, much smarter about deciding when to do a web search versus when it already has all the context it needs. And third is this new computer use capability, which is still in beta, but it allows the model to directly control a browser or your desktop for tasks that don't even have an API. Now, this does not mean you should use Opus for everything. The crucial point here is to see it as a specialized tool. Think of it like a surgeon's scalpel. For your high-complexity, multi-source tasks, like, say, drafting a proposal that needs to synthesize a call transcript, 3 websites, and a contract, Opus 4.7 is absolutely the right choice. But for simpler, single-source stuff like just drafting a quick email, the faster and cheaper Sonnet model is still the way to go. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get to the how. I want to give you a clear, actionable test that you can run this week to see if this new capability is actually a fit for your own business. First things first, identify a single high-complexity task that currently takes you about 60 to 90 minutes. You know the one. Client proposals, competitive research briefs, maybe a weekly report. Second, make sure it requires pulling from at least 3 different sources. This is key to testing its reasoning ability. Third, use the Claude Projects feature to load up those sources and give the model that persistent context it needs. And finally, run the task. And when you do, track the completion time, but here's the most important part. Count the number of reprompts or corrections you had to make. Your goal is to get that number as close to 0 as possible. And that really brings us to the final and honestly the most important takeaway here. If you want to truly understand the value of this tool, don't give it something simple.
The real breakthrough in Opus 4.7 is revealed by complexity, not by simplicity. So find your most difficult, multi-step, headache-inducing workflow, the one that always hits your personal automation ceiling. Start there, because that's where you're going to truly see the difference.